I wed a woman named Katharine Ross. I will never stop loving her. We're wed at the age of 80 by Katharine Ross. Sam Elliott still looks the part thanks to his voice, appearance, and subtle energy. The cowboy who never lost his footing is how everyone else sees him, even his relatives. On the other hand, a change occurred in the background. Although onlookers saw a man performing at a high level, Sam was actually progressively deteriorating. Gradually, it became public knowledge rather than all at once. Why was his life in such a mess? It didn't crumble because of success, failure, or even old age. That was something more insidious and difficult to resolve, something that drained him of his serenity, his dignity, and his finances over time. The fissures were initially invisible, but they were soon too large to disregard. The burden he bore never left his body, yet he persisted in showing up for work every day with a smile on his face, the youngster who was ultimately unharmed. Sam Elliott was once a shy kid from Sacramento, whose family valued diligence above ambition before he became famous and wealthy in Hollywood. He comes from a family of strict educators. His mother was a state champion diver. The government employed his quiet, unassuming father to track wild animals. Dreams didn't captivate him. Their backyard was filled with garden beds and beehives instead of lines and studio lights. During the day, Sam enjoyed fishing in chilly rivers, pedaling past fairs, and exploring the mountains. His true desire was to return home at sunset, not stardom. By accompanying his dad on hikes in the Sierra Nevadas, he mastered the art of reading the landscape like a book or a map. Not only did those journeys bring him closer to nature, but they also bestowed upon him an unwavering resilience and serenity that cannot be taught in a classroom. Regardless, something shifted in him when he and his sister watched vintage westerns and science fiction films when he was 9 years old. The word "I'm going to do something" came out of his mouth. The impact of that single line was profound. Unfazed, his dad continued. He remained silent the entire time. Reminding his son, "You've got a snowball's chance in hell," he responded. I was deeply moved by that statement. Even though it persisted, Sam was unaffected. Whenever a door closed or a casting agent scoffed, that voice became his constant companion. Over time, it would be the driving force behind his determination to persevere when others would have surrendered. Devastating loss. In 1962, Sam Elliott's father passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack while he was a high school student. He finally had his chance to impress this one person. Quit before they could reach a reconciliation. Quietness followed the absence of any final words or sign of peace. Even at the age of 18, Sam was still a man consumed by desire and furious. However, at this stage, that desire could only intensify within him. Not out of disobedience, but with a clear goal in mind, he soon after dropped out of college. The words his father used to try and dissuade him ended up fueling his obsession. With each rejection, fruitless interview, and naysayer, he recalled that phrase, "a snowball's chance in hell." Anguish had now joined doubt as the worst possible emotion. Sam could never prove to his father that he was capable. He repressed that hurt for a long time, but it transformed him eventually. He remained upright. More than ever before, he listened intently. Instead of letting his grief hold him back, he channeled his quiet rage into action. In 1966, he enlisted in the California Air National Guard, not for military service, but to maintain peace and order. In his role as loadmaster, he determined the center of gravity and weight distribution of combat aircraft. It wasn't thrilling, but it gave him confidence he hadn't felt from acting before. Despite being exhausted from working 12-hour shifts, he made a mad dash across town to attend acting classes. Running from a ghost wasn't the only thing Sam was chasing. He was also attempting to build something his father didn't believe was possible. No one in the film industry wanted him. After making it to Los Angeles in 1967, Sam found himself with just $100 in his pocket and no means of transportation. Because of his job as a construction worker, he slept in his car, took showers when he could, and wore clothes covered in dust to interviews. He appeared too rugged and his voice was off-putting. A cowboy who stood 6 feet 2 inches tall and had a preacher's accent baffled the agents. Despite having his boots worn out and his eyes focused, he persisted in his first year despite being turned down 87 times. Sam tightened his grip on the reins when everyone else had given up. For $50 per day, he worked as an extra in the Way West for his first real job. He was uncredited and lacked words, but he picked up knowledge through observation and listening. Plus, the 1968 legal drama, Judd for the Defense, miraculously gave him 3 lines. At last, that noise was perceived. Tremendous, gradual, and indelible it was. In order to retain him, the scene was altered. Once a hindrance, his baritone voice now serves to highlight him. However, the components were a financial loss. The majority of his 1968 income, less than $4,000, went toward housing and transportation costs. But eventually, leaders began to take note. He would be reliable. Oh, he was there. The room couldn't have been filled with just 10 lines. Sam trained his voice to drop nearly an octave in order to get the part when Gunsmoke called, which is something most artists wouldn't do. Even that didn't help him gain popularity. People started calling him John Wayne's ghost due to that part. His time in the military was mocked by a member of the production crew who said, "Playing a soldier doesn't make you one." Sam nearly gave up that day, but he vowed to himself that from then on he would always give his absolute best when playing a cowboy or a fighter. Simply put, he was acting. It wasn't an act. The one who changed everything. They only ever saw each other in the movie, but they never crossed paths. In the opening scene of 1969's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Sam Elliott portrayed an unnamed card player. Both the film and its setting were identical, and Katharine Ross had a starring role. Sam had no further comments regarding her. Fate reunited her after nearly a decade. The Legacy, a 1978 supernatural film set in London, featured both of them. The chemistry was there this time. They played romantic leads on screen, but off-screen it became real. The attraction between Ross and Sam was strong, even though Ross was married and Sam was single. After that, he mocked her pursuit of the film director in Butch Cassidy, claiming he was nothing more than a shadow. But now the time and both of them were different. Once filming wrapped, Ross filed for a divorce from her husband. In the span of 5 years, she and Sam were married. Cleo Rose Elliott, their daughter, was born very soon after they were married. In contrast to his first marriage, this was her 5th. For the first time in his life, Sam, who portrayed loners and tough guys, was a husband and father. Building a family was more important to him than any job he had. Although everything in his personal life was going swimmingly, dark clouds were brewing. They were a long splintered family. Sam handled his personal life with care. Whether at home or on TV, it was the same rough and tumble guy. The 2011 year, though, was the final straw. His mid-20s-old daughter, Cleo Rose, lost it during an argument with her mother, Katharine Ross. In a flash, the battle became fierce. According to what Ross told her, Cleo told her, "I want to kill you." In addition to stabbing her mother 6 times in the arm, she kicked down a cabinet door, cut the phone line with scissors, and attacked her mother. Ross, who was 71 years old when he fled and appeared in court alone. Unexpectedly, the subsequent protection order revealed something. According to Ross, Cleo's mean behavior began when she was 12 years old. When she went to the house, the cops had to follow closely. All of a sudden, the family that Sam had laboriously built fell apart. It had always been Cleo's dream to be a musician. With the goal of becoming famous, she studied opera and played the guitar. But after that, she started to lose momentum. She left the limelight behind. Her outings in public are quite rare. Whispering, she spoke. Neither the press nor the people heard anything from Sam. To keep the family united, he remained silent and did his best to keep mum. The newspapers eventually moved on after a few years. The healing process, however, is time-consuming. In this case, it took years. Sam Elliott appeared to have achieved the ideal conclusion by the time he was in his late 70s. A reuniting family, a loving wife, and a happy marriage. In 2018, he received his first Oscar nomination for his role in A Star is Born. His most terrifying role up to that point, from 1883, earned him a SAG award the following year. At last, he was recognized for more than his cowboy image. He was a genuine actor. However, behind those applause and cheers, something awful was happening. A lot of people in Hollywood didn't approve of an interview, so rumors started circulating about bad investments, shelved projects, and employment issues. No Sam ever brought it up in a public setting. There were rumors that he was planning to retire, but he ended up finding more voiceover work, parts, and appearances instead. Those who knew him well also noticed a property deal that fell through and ongoing legal fees. People assumed it was motivated by love, but in reality, it was driven by necessity. Neither a scandal nor bankruptcy occurred. Rather, Sam continued to work tirelessly long after most stars his age had stopped, due to a gradual, unseen collapse. His schedule had become more of a necessity than a choice, but he remained that reliable cowboy. Fixing holes that no one else can see is a grind, and that's exactly what it was. Was he attempting to move on from something he refused to acknowledge, or was this about leaving a legacy?
his friends and family began to question the heroic cowboy who kept going. The fact that Sam Elliott was getting older, had scars on his family, and was having financial problems didn't stop him from working. He performed a pivotal role in his life in 1883 at the age of 77. Shea Brennan was a grieving man who led settlers across the American border, and Sam's performance as him was full of pain, weariness, and soul. His character contemplates suicide after murdering his wife and daughter in the opening scene. Both the reality and the terror of it were palpable. Critics hailed it as a teaching moment. No one could look away. Despite taking the stage to accept his 2023 Screen Actors Guild Award, Sam refrained from boasting. Without looking back, he whispered to the audience that this was the pinnacle of his career. Sam is, and always has been, that strong, modest guy. It's 2025, and he's 80 years old, but he's still not giving up. He co-stars with Billy Bob Thornton in another show by Taylor Sheridan, Landman. Some even think he'll make a return appearance in the upcoming Amazon reboot of Roadhouse. He continues to act, narrate, and do voiceover work for commercials. Others have told him he's not required to. Some think he's not capable of doing it. Sam, though, never explains his motivations. He considers them an integral component of his work. The role entails that. In spite of the apparent instability around him, he maintains his composure. In private, Sam Elliott remains unaltered regardless of external factors like career paths and job markets. Even though he is unyielding, he is still vulnerable. Sam Elliott has always watched his word choice in social situations, and that has cost him. His goal is not to attract attention. He remains silent. In a town where relationships are short-lived, Sam was recently asked about his experience of being married for more than 40 years. After a brief pause, he spoke something straightforward. You need to push through the tough times. Leaving it is not an option. He didn't merely broach the subject of marriage. The weight of his life, his father's lack of belief in him, his daughter's violent behavior, his late incoming fame, and the money that may be gone, was contained in that one quiet line, which he spoke in his usual calm drawl. He was never one to accuse. Never once did he belittle himself. He persisted in his advance despite the trembling ground, for the simple reason that Sam Elliott has always assumed that men should keep to themselves. It entails seeing what others don't, and keeping your strength when everyone else gives up. Despite being 80 years old, and bearing the marks of his life's journey, he continues to forge ahead. Although Sam Elliott may never reveal every detail of his life, his actions speak volumes. Do you think he ever got what he deserved from Hollywood? How much longer was it, beyond what it provided? Post your opinions down below.